video explains how to safely and securely tow a dinghy behind your cruising sailboat. So if you're going to be towing a dinghy behind your boat, there are a couple of specific concerns you want to address. First is you don't want to lose the dinghy. So this means you need to have a strong tow line that's properly secured. The second concern is that you want to eliminate the possibility of wrapping the tow line around your propeller. As this video demonstrates, losing power due to a line wrapped around your propeller in a crowded area can be very dangerous and disconcerting. So what we need in a tow line is, first, it floats, second, it's strong, and third, it's UV resistant so that it won't degrade in strength over time. To meet these requirements, we selected a New England ropes line called Dingy Tow Rope, which is of nylon construction over polypropylene. The nylon is UV resistant. In 7/16 size, it has a breaking strength of 5,000 pounds, and as you can see, it floats extremely well. And finally, you don't want to damage the dinghy or any of its related gear. So let's see about hooking up our tow line. One thing you need to deal with a tow line setup is a towed dinghy tends to swing side to side. And to minimize this swinging, we can add a bridle to the tow rope where you have a line that goes to the D-ring on each side of the dinghy. They're provided for this purpose. An issue here is you want to make sure that the jerk load from the tow line that occurs when a wave pulls the dinghy backwards goes to the tow ring on the center of the hull and not to the D-rings. Here you can see how a following wave first pushes the dinghy forward, and then as the dinghy slides down the back of the wave, the tow line takes up with a violent jerk. Take a look at the connections on the front of a dinghy. You can see a tow ring, which is goes right into the fiberglass hull, very, very sturdy. And then there's a pair of these D-rings. The D-rings are applied by fabric, and the problem with the D-rings taking any jerk load is as the rings get pulled forward, they eventually will start to rip the fabric here, and they'll rip all the way across and then come apart. Whereas the tow ring is very solid. So this is where you want to make sure all the jerk load has to go to the tow ring, no jerk load to the D-rings, or they'll rip the fabric that's attaching them and they'll come off. The D-rings aren't designed to take a lot of load. They'll get ripped if they have the jerk load going to them. And the way you do that is you make the center section of the bridle shorter than the other two lengths, and that way when the dinghy gets pulled up short, the load goes all to the center connection, not to the D-rings here. So I want to take a look at setting up a towing harness with my new tow line. This is going to be the tow line. I want to be able to attach a bridle to it. So I put a trucker's hitch in the line. I can attach the bridle to this. Okay. So what I have now is a tow line with the two bridle lines on it. That looks good. I'll come and attach this.
well, and turn it to half hitches over to this D-ring here. Okay, I've adjusted this so the center rope is a little tighter than either of the sides, and that should do it.
So one issue we saw after relaunching the dinghy is the extra line I added for the bridle did not float. As a result, the whole bridle system sank into the water. The solution was to buy a pair of floats and add one to each length of the bridle, and the result is something that floats quite well.
Take a look at our new dinghy tow line. That's netted out to a little over boat length, and that seems to be a good length. So we're all set finally for our dinghy towing.
So let me mention a few do's and don'ts relative to towing a dinghy. First is, as mentioned earlier, don't tow using just the D-rings. If you do that, you'll find someday when you've had a lot of wave action going against you that the D-rings rip off. Second, don't tow with the outboard on unless you know you'll be operating only in protected waters. The weight of the outboard in the back of the dinghy makes it very unstable. A wave can flip the dinghy over. If you have a dinghy upside down with the motor on it in some rough water, you've got a real problem. A do is, when you start your engine, shorten the tow line.
Grab your dinghy line, shorten it up so you don't have to worry about backing up over it by accident.